So that inner compass of what I call soul speak, like the soul is guiding us. Are we listening? I can kind of feel like I'm a horse in a stable at first. Like my ears are perked, and then all of a sudden it's like, now. I know if I ignore it, I will be so against my integrity.
The next step just appeared once you spoke it.
And if someone's teaching you to look inside yourself, those are the people you want to go. Those are the people you want to go spend time with and learn from.
And the irony, like, oh my gosh, I've hated to hear that, and now I'm saying it and practicing it, right? Like, oh, the answer's within you. It's like, shut up.
Hi, y'all. You're in for a treat today. We have one of my most favorite people in the room, besides Rocky, of course.
I was just going to say. Not that we choose favorites, but please do choose me.
Jennifer Mulholland is with us, and she's a dear, dear person to me. And because we love presence and we love to meet the moment, I've asked her if she would kick us off with a little presence practice before we dive in. We think this is a great way to get us to open our hearts, and we're inviting you to join us. So if you can, take a pause in your day and listen in.
Yeah, if you're driving, this is going to get real for like 1 to 5 minutes. So you're not going to want to close your eyes and follow suit.
But everybody else,
you're doing anything serious. Pay attention to your surroundings.
But I'm so excited for this. This is something that Tessa usually leads us through, and she does a great job. But the more the merrier to join in on this. So thanks for doing it for us.
So let's just jump in.
Please.
And if you are in a safe place and you can afford to close your eyes and keep your body and your mind and your awareness and environment in a safe place, join me by just dropping in and closing your eyes. And if you can't do that, you can just listen to my voice with your eyes open. So we're just going to invite our full presence to feel completely embodied in our body as we take a collective inhale through our nose and then an exhale out through our mouths. And again, inhaling the fresh oxygenated air through your nostrils. And then exhaling any tension, any holding out through your breath. And then one more time, inhaling the light, aliveness, health and well-being in through your nose. And then allowing the release of any tension, any density, anything you're ready to just let go, be exhaled out through your breath. And then just allow your own natural rhythm to restore as we journey inwards into our body and being. And just take a gentle scan of your posture while you're sitting in this moment or standing, allowing a wash of gratitude to come over your physical being, just as it is. Maybe notice any areas of your muscles and bones or structure, or maybe your organs or skin. Just notice what feels open and what areas might feel like they're holding a little something. Just as the observer, as if you're witnessing your best friend or your twin, you're just scanning your body with curiosity, with presence, with your unique attention. All our bodies want is our attention. And they speak to us to get it. And then we close by inhaling the light through our nose as an inhale, breathing in the light that we are. And then exhaling the light that we are. Feeling your feet on the ground, the furniture beneath you. Maybe wiggling your fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, you can just gently come back in wakeful presence with your eyes open.
That felt really good. Okay, we're done. I feel warmer. I feel like taller. It took me a little bit in the beginning to get out of some jaw tension I was having and some weird tension behind my right eye. And now I'm like, nope, eyes are bright. I'm here. Tell me about you. What can I'm here for it. How about you guys?
For me, this morning I was doing some writing before this session, and I was thinking about both and who am I? And that I am a complex being who can be sad, can be happy, can love her family and want desire, and can be complex and simple, and can want excitement and stillness. And the light was really beautiful because it was encompassing all of those sides. And it just was this like softening and this reminder that you can be a lot of things all at once.
Like less things hiding in dark corners.
Yeah.
I think we're so conditioned to compartmentalize ourselves. And what occurred to me in the visualization is the light is all, and we are all. And we were having some conversations before about like that idea of wholeness, and the and is whole, right? It's all of it. And so much of becoming more of ourselves is remembering our wholeness, that state of being where we can just bring presence to it all, the places in our body that feel really tight and shitty, and then the places that feel expanded and more roomy. And so what is that? And for me, I'm deepening my practice to come back to the body. Oh my gosh, the body is so intelligent. I've been blessed to have 2 healthy kids, and I had 2 natural births. And they were the hardest fucking thing I've ever done in my entire life. And there was a moment when I was completely a passenger in the body's intelligence of contractions and birthing them, right? And I had no part in strategizing how it was going to go.
Yeah, your brain
Right.
is it's not going how your brain thought it was going to go.
And so it's just, my son's 21, my daughter's 15, and that's a long time. How easy it is to forget the body's intelligence.
Yeah.
To even help us in business, to help us in relationships. And so I love the feeling that we just kind of cultivated is more relaxed and settled and fully embodied or fully in whole of the and, right?
So Tessa, Jennifer is new to me, but you guys have known each other. I want to hear the meet cute. How'd you guys meet? Why did we get that beautiful meet the moment presence? How did you bring this woman over into our podcast?
I know. Don't you feel lucky?
I do feel
I feel
lucky.
lucky. I feel
Grateful
lucky to
washed
know her.
over me as I was.
Yes.
Yes.
The light. She always brings the light, and she has since the moment that she walked in to this space. We were trying to decide maybe 4-ish years ago. She was a friend's recommendation for a speaker when we did a lot of speaker series for Keep Growing Tuesday that we used to host here. And the point of that was to invite different people from the community in to connect and learn from each other and get rid of this divisiveness that we're all feeling in the world. And Jennifer came in and just lit up the room. That's something she does. And then she walked onto stage. I think, I can't recall, but I want to say that maybe you were the first speaker. And she commands the space, but not in the traditional way. And the room settled because she didn't say anything. And then she led us without introducing herself, I think I gave her a little paragraph introduction. She led us in a meditation. And it was the first time anyone had done that. And I, at this point, had probably had about 200 speakers through the space. And no one had ever done that as their quote unquote speech. And then after, everyone was so connected in the space, which is the entire intent of that project that we got to host. And I was just drinking her up and just like, what are you selling? I'm here to buy it. Mm-hmm. And then I got to attend a couple retreats with her and have met some really amazing humans because of her. And there was a moment, there's a couple big key moments, one from each retreat, but there was a time in this retreat a few years ago where I was deep in my brain injury space. And I was hopeless that I would ever return and have access to my brain again, to the creative, more full human that I wanted to come back to. And she took us it was September, October, up in Park City. And she took us to bottom of Trailhead. And she said, okay, we're going to walk up. And there was more prep than this. And we were, in the zone, if you will, retreat zone. We're going to walk up, but we're going to walk up in silence. And I just want you to think of one thing, possibility. And on the way up, I was quiet, away from other people. And when we first showed up, everything looked brown. It looked golden and brown. And that's because the leaves had already fallen. And on the way up, it only looked like two colors. But as we started trekking, I realized that there were not just two colors. There were all these different shades and all these different types of plants that encompassed this beautiful hike. And I started picking a piece of each different plant that I saw along the way. And at the top, I looked down and had made this beautiful bouquet, which for me represents possibility. And that possibility was that I can heal. And I didn't believe it when I started that hike. And it was just such a simple invitation and gesture to look down and see 15, 17, 18 different kinds of plants that existed on that mountain in this beautiful state of winter rest or headed into winter rest. And to know that there was a possibility that I could heal again. And I asked at the top of the mountain, I would like to heal again, and I would like to one day run up this mountain. And about 4 months later, I did. And that is one of the many reasons I will always be in your corner.
It's so beautiful. I'm so grateful our paths have crossed. And I think the bouquet reminds me of your awareness of the and, right? Like the parts of ourselves that we sometimes forget and we need to recollect to make our bouquet again, And I do feel like we're all going through a remembering of our full whole selves. And we've lost our parts along the way. And sometimes in the metaphor of the silent walk and the hike, and I can see where we were and how nature just provides this bounty of metaphor and beauty and diversity and, symbiotic relationships and all of it. But oftentimes, especially in business, we are running so fast to make shit happen, to create a positive impact, to make a difference in the world, to innovate, to be on the cutting edge, to pioneer, to offer, to serve. And innocently, something happens, or innocently we forget. And we forget that those pieces are always within ourselves. But there are moments like that, whether it's a forced healing or a forced event or a truth that comes forth that like gets our attention so much that it's like, oh my gosh, silent retreat that you did, you know, that what are these pieces that I need to recollect so I can create my own bouquet of beingness, expression, healing.
From within, because we're so often told, oh, I have the answer for you. To make a joke to what Tessa said, like anything you're selling, I'm here for it. But like we do live in a world of consumerism where we are told, I have the answer to your happiness. I have the answer to your stress. I have the answer to, and every single time someone's doing that to you, they're shadowing over the fact that like, no, it's just inside you. And if someone's teaching you to look inside yourself, those are the people you want to go spend time with and learn from. Yeah. The bouquet within ourselves.
And the irony, like, oh my gosh, I've hated to hear that. And now I'm saying it and practicing it, right? Like, oh, the answer's within you. It's like, shut up, right? Like, it's so annoying.
Oh, I never thought I'd be that person. Right? Never.
You know, but like, no, seriously, tell me how did you do it so I can.
You're like, for reals.
Right.
It's within you. And now we're all here.
We're probably going to say that 10 times.
A line from within, a line from within, a line from within. But you know what? It's the simple answer with the incredibly hard practice that has to come with that.
Or not incredibly hard. That was so gentle and soft how she led us there. Like it feels so inaccessible for that sort of intention finding or coming back into yourself because I don't know, we've been taught that meditation, you're supposed to empty out your brain or whatever it is, but that was so accessible. Such an invitation in such a gentle way that maybe it doesn't all have to be hard.
Yeah. I meant the practice of it is hard, but I would agree that what we just did is a very accessible thing and we are told it's not. Because again, we want to create barriers as, you know, no, you can't do it by yourself. You need me to help you, right? I'm your guru, if you will, or I'm your answer. So yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah. And you know, space is underrated. I mean,
space is underrated.
You know, we all have shit to do. We're spinning a gazillion plates. We're all wearing multiple hats, so many different roles. And you know, you get caught up. You get caught up in the pace of life and in the schedule and in the calendar, all innocently with well intent. And the more we can create space for these micro moments of tuning back in, whatever that is, even if it's like you're washing your hands automatically at the sink, right? Before dinner or after the bathroom or whatever, washing your face before you go to bed. Like, can you just bring presence to the water coming down on your hands? And a wonderful practice is putting your hands in the sink underneath the faucet and allowing the residue of the day, the stickiness or the tension to just go out the drain through the water coming through your hands. Now, do I do that all the time? No, I totally forget. But when I do, I'm like, oh, that was so simple. And that actually helped me relax and be in relationship with these things that I think we just take for granted, like our breath for meditation or closing our eyes. Just the fact sometimes we don't have to have our eyes open all day long. Like closing them helps us go inside to check in, to just get a sense of what's the vibe here in this room. Or you show up at a board meeting or a meeting and you're like, oh, there's a lot of energy going around. Just closing your eyes for half a second helps you kind of create space for yourself, so you can tune in. And oftentimes, Rocky, like we're waiting for somebody to give ourselves permission to do it or like tell us to do it. And then we're all good students, me included. But like, how do we become our own instructor?
Yeah.
Like that one where we can give ourselves permission and experiment, because there's no right way to create space or have this epiphany of healing on a silent walk. Like it, it was meant to happen for you, but they're micro moments all the time. We can give ourselves permission to experiment with what feels good.
Well, you are one of the people that amazes me in how you are dedicated to some of these practices, because I feel like you move through life with a lot of intention, and that sometimes you are just on a path and then you decide, nope, I'm going on a different path. And I'm curious, how do you align from within, or the words that you may use that, and then how do you use that information to make these decisions in your life?
Yeah, like drop a bomb on us. Give us a story of mind-blowing, oh my God, you did what?
Well, what occurs to me maybe as a tee up to career change, I will share. I definitely feel like the arc of my life has been a lot of listening and leaping. And as I'm like thinking about, wow, what's a helpful story? Maybe I'll share, the path that kind of got me set up to another listen and leap this past year has been in my DNA. And I do practice listening to my own knowing. For me, it actually comes as kind of what's called clairsentience. I get a full body conviction. Sometimes I hear it, sometimes I see it, but for me, it's like, oh, I just know. I just have this overcoming full body sense of a direction, of a decision. And then I do have such a commitment to walk the talk that to a fault, like I'm working on not being such a good girl anymore, but I've really had a good girl, the good girl does what she says. She's in integrity all the time. She walks the talk. That is I'm trying to unlearn some of that so I can be more human and messy.
But what a beautiful mirror to let you do it in such a healthy way too, when we carry that shadow self of I can overdo it, but then you also are able to watch yourself overdo it and go, oh, cool. I know how not to overdo it at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're doing this thing.
Learning that.
Yeah, progressive.
So, long ago when I was in college, I was at the top of my lacrosse career and playing for University of Delaware, lacrosse and field hockey. And going into my senior year, I was captain. And I just really got this overwhelming sense that I was being called out west and I needed a change. And in that pursuit, I was looking for what colleges took credits, and it was unfathomable to leave what I had worked for 15 years to get to this D1 level of college lacrosse. And I love the game, but definitely something was drawing me for a change. And
can I, not to derail you, but can I imagine Jennifer in this moment for a second? Are you like Regina George in Mean Girls? You just have all this anger and you're checking people. I've never actually seen a lacrosse game. What's your vibe at this point in your life? Hyper competitive. You got to be, right? D1.
Yeah. Hyper competitive, but I loved leading. I loved playing as a team member. I wouldn't say I was aggro, beating the shit out of each other. Although that is how the game has evolved today. But I loved it. It was just my passion of
so you're going to sleep thinking lacrosse. You're waking up lacrosse.
Yeah,
you're deep in it.
Okay. Yeah, I was deep in it. To get to that level too, you have to do a lot of training, and it's got to be your passion otherwise. And I was a 3-sport athlete and just love sports, love physical movement.
So you're in other sports too. I mean, you're all over this sports thing. Okay. That gives me a good picture. Thanks.
And love leadership. So that was really birthing as captain and co-captain. I was just loved leading teams to perform. I loved human performance. And that's been a consistent arc my whole life.
Yeah.
But at that time, I really got this full body kind of pull, this draw, this need for change. And I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know where Utah was. Like, Utah was not on the map in 93. So
This is like, I didn't know where New Mexico was until this year. And I
right.
was like, how did I not know where the state was? Didn't we learn the states? But yeah, you have no actual knowing.
No, and people are like, Utah, what? Where is that? So long story short, I put a map out on the ground and was like, what school is close to skiing? Because I loved to ski and would take my credits. And at the time I was kind of thinking of just taking a semester, but turned out I transferred and didn't know anybody in the state. And I fell in love with it. And I was in a bar one night downtown Salt Lake, and on the TV, a lacrosse game was playing, and I started crying. And I realized, oh my God, what the hell did I just do? And there was no women's lacrosse in Utah at the time. And so it birthed inside of me my entrepreneurial spirit of taking what I learned on the field and now in business years later, but leadership, teamwork, and initiative. And I founded my first nonprofit bringing women's lacrosse to the state of Utah. So that was like a listening, leaping moment where nobody was telling me to stay or go.
Yeah.
It rose from within. And it likely was an antsiness that I had outgrown where I was. And that is kind of been the theme of a lot of listening and leaping. I did the same thing in corporate tech, worked for a Fortune 500 company in Salt Lake and went through lots of mergers and acquisitions and had a dream job, loved my
Quote
position.
unquote dream job.
Yeah, loved it. I mean, leading a global team, traveling anywhere, like overseeing consulting, and I was their innovation officer, and like on paper and genuinely, I loved it. But my body started to speak to me, and that listening to the speak.
What was it saying?
Yeah. How does it feel?
At that time, I literally had a physical sensation in my abdomen that turned out to be a parasite nest that was keeping me up at night. So it wasn't
Like alien?
Yeah,
Like
it was. Well, we all have parasites.
What?
Yes.
No, we do not.
We all
No,
do.
we
I
do
hate
not.
to say it, but we
Nope.
do.
No. Okay. Anyway, go back to your alien.
anyway.
Your alien, not my alien.
So that whole path led me down. I, had to see my upbringing. Let me backtrack. Is I come from 3 generations of health and well-being and holistic healers, and so I lean towards complementary alternative medicine. But that wasn't working at the time. So then I had to swing to conventional medical and saw about 15 doctors to try and figure out what was going on with me. They didn't have the answer. I ended up having a reading with a shaman over the phone who was like, you have this activated parasite here, and this is what you need to do. So it led me on to this path of integrated wellness, of bridging conventional medical with complementary holistic medicine that actually birthed another company I started later of a tech platform trying to bring well-being into communities to bridge this spectrum.
Wait, and this call with a shaman is happening while you're high in the tech world.
Yeah.
That seems like a dichotomy that is, who are you talking to about this in your workspace?
Yeah.
Anyone?
No. I had studied myself shamanic medicine, and I had been trained in healing modalities for years before that. It
Did
was
anyone
all in
know
the
this?
closet. No.
Yeah. Okay. Because
No.
I'm imagining a tech bro.
No.
And you're telling him like, yeah, okay, so like I've called my shaman and like my alien inside of my body, which you have too, by the way. And he's like, no, bro, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was lonely. It was hard. I totally compartmentalized this part of myself in pursuit of climbing the corporate ladder and being a woman in leadership and in the tech.com.
She can't bring her shaman into this boardroom. We can't have any of that.
Yeah. So I had a great boss at the time, and he, encouraged me to take 2 months off paid leave.
What?
And yeah.
Great boss.
Yeah. Great boss. And I threw myself into more personal development, and what arose was I love this, but this is not why I'm here. I'm here to help people perform and help people find themselves. And so that is one of the companies I started after.
I want to know with the leap,
Damn.
sorry, not the leap. I want to know with the listen, like, do you have a regular practice around the listen so those deep knowings, like, do they come a bunch of times and then you're like, okay, I hear you? Or is it a foof and you hear it and it's crystal clear? Like, I'm just curious as to how you cultivated that from a, 20-year-old to now. I know this is derailing part of the story, but I'm just wondering what it feels like in your bones.
Because I'm over here going like, okay, I'm taking notes. How do I do it?
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me obviously what my body will say, but like, give us you got 20 years of experience on this thing.
Yeah. I think one of the tools that you learned at Lantern, our leadership retreat, and I wrote about in my book, is like, do I feel expanded or contracted? That's like a really easy, like tuning into my knowing at any little choice point. Is my body feeling open and safe and like leaning in, or is it contracted and stressed and leaning out?
Yeah, so tactile. So like we know
Easy. That's like a easy to feel.
Yeah, without anyone telling us.
I feel little, like I feel myself shrinking in those moments.
Yeah.
So that would be that contraction. Thank you for putting words to that.
Procrastinating is another, like not wanting to do it. I think for these big moments, so one I just described, going from Delaware to Utah, another one was Salt Lake corporate life to entrepreneurial life. Another moment was when my son had a crazy injury, blew out everything in his knee, was left with a paralyzed leg, and we were told to wait till the nerve would wake up on its own. And we were working back on a time ticking bomb, essentially. Like the nerve had to wake up in order for him to walk ever again normally within a certain period of time, or the muscles would turn to tissue. And I knew that the doctor was wrong. I knew it. And how did I know it? Like, I was sensing it up till the months until, like, I would say I got to drop the mic moment. I get the, oh shit, I got to act. And for me, it is so, like it's a full, I can kind of feel like I'm a horse in a stable at first. Like my ears are perked. I'm listening to the cues. I'm connecting the dots. My hair's going up a little bit. And all of a sudden that information starts to get louder and bigger. And then all of a sudden it's like, now. Like I gotta move.
So hard to ignore.
Yeah, can't ignore it. Honestly, like I know if I ignore it, I will be so against my integrity. So that inner compass of what I call soul speak, like the soul is guiding us. Are we listening? And it cuts through everything. And so with my son, when I knew we had to act, mobilized our network to find a neurosurgeon that, I won't get into it right now, but just ended up rewiring his leg so he could walk again. And it worked. And so had I waited, we would have been outside that window. So I think there is an urgency that comes with this knowing. For me, I listen by being quiet in the morning, meditating. I commune with my guides. I literally ask for help, for me to see, to sense, to know, what am I here to be, to do today. I journal. And I pay a lot of attention to the synchronicities around us, the people that cross our path, the animals. I just really believe that there are no accidents, that every single person has been put and placed here for this weave because we are connected to each other, that we're connected to the field, and we all have some nugget of wisdom for each other. So I do, where that parasite was activated is right in my solar plexus, which is the center of my power.
Yeah, your little green chakra.
So I feel active, when I know, I feel it there, and it's like, okay, I need to act.
This makes me think of like, we're all having these sensations at any point in time. We've always had them. The question is whether or not we're like paying attention to them, which it's a lot of this work is that we are literally just attempting to make space to pay attention to them so that you can allow them the space to get louder. So then you can identify what it is specifically to your body. And so that's what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, that over 20 years or maybe less, it's been this progress of, okay, there's something, and instead of going away from it, I'm going to make space for it. So first it's a choice that we have to make of noticing something. And that's where all the breath work comes in, the physical movement comes in, because those give us opportunities to hear our bodies speaking. And then also just being able to say like, okay, well, what specifically is it? So go back, because I feel like you have some more options. Contraction, not contraction. What was the second one?
Like
procrastinating.
When you're just not into something, it feels like you just noticed you keep putting it off, or it keeps dropping to the bottom of your to-do list in comparison to what are you naturally leaning into? Like what feels exciting, interesting, what just bubbles up that it's an automatic, yes, I'm in.
And we won't necessarily know in that moment that, procrastination, we don't know the answer of what procrastination is telling us. We just know as first step, there is procrastination. I am procrastinating. And then we're using that as a mirror to go, where am I not procrastinating? Yeah. And that's step one, right? Yeah.
The other piece I would say that I really have dove deep into the last couple of years is I've been doing a lot of psychic training and learning how to commune and listen to the soul. And we all have these gifts. Like I used to think that, for a long time, 30 years probably, I've saw mediums and psychics and they've been on my board of directors.
They've got the power. I'm just over here receiving it.
Yeah. And when I'm in transition, I turn to them to help give me guidance as to what feels in alignment and off alignment. And then you just you get that knowing of like, oh, that resonates, or no, that's a crock of shit, or not. I'm not going to entertain that, or like that feels good. We all have those moments. But a few years ago, I really got this conviction again that came over me and said, fuck this. I want to be a direct channel.
That sounds like my conviction.
Right?
I get a lot of heat and then it's like, fuck it.
Right?
I'm like,
You're
okay, I'm listening now.
I want, what, if they can do this, I can do this. Right? That has been the last few years of like, oh my gosh, we all have these gifts. We just have, we've forgotten, or we've been told otherwise.
Do you feel like it's like strengthening a muscle?
Yes.
Sort of that like
100%.
It's there, but let's go do some bicep curls on it to make it stronger so you can drop into that easier.
Yeah. And I think like what I've been unlearning is that it's hard. It's not, it's instant. We just override it with all our thinking and second guessing and insecurity that it may not be correct.
Does the voice of your inner knowing sound different than your thinking mind?
Yes.
And does it have like a different pitch?
Give me the character voice, please.
Yeah. is it your Matthew character voice, or
You're
is it
not good enough?
And she sounds kind of like an angry little old witch.
You have
person.
to do more.
Oh,
you have to prove.
You
have to strive. You have to be seen a certain way.
I don't like. It's funny.
Have to be
I'm
a little
contracting
good girl.
as I say that.
Yeah. No, and then the soul speak is so simple, clear, direct. And I think those are the truth bombs that I've seen this year more than ever, but over my lifetime, these curves that have nudged me to listen deeply and then to leap. And the psychic training is really interesting because it's a lot of quieting your mind, giving your mind something to think about that distracts it so that you can kind of
it's like counting breath or counting your steps.
Yeah. So I'll share an exercise that one of my spiritual teachers taught me that I just think it's a good illustration for this that I think anybody could do. So if you wrote down a few questions that you want to know answers to, like whatever, career-wise, business, relationship, and let's say you do it 5 times and you have 5 different questions, and you could put them on 5 different pieces of paper. And then in the room that you're sitting in, you just allow your attention to be drawn to an object, a plant, a coffee mug, a computer, whatever. And just take a moment to write down your impressions of the information that you're getting from that object. Just to bring your presence to that. What does it remind you of? Do you sense anything? Is there a color? Is there a sound? Is there a feeling? And you just kind of scribble whatever you're downloading from being present with that object. And then once you've done that 5 times, mix up the papers separately so that your mind doesn't know any order of the questions and of the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can randomly pick a question and randomly pick what you observed and put them together. And you'll be blown away. It's
We're
so
playing
amazing, right? Like it's so, and it sounds so simple or silly.
And also ridiculous because I'm like, what does a plant have to do with my business plans for 2026?
Yes, but everything's got energy,
That
everything's
it's
got
growing.
information, and everything has consciousness. So that's the unlearning of like, how do we tap into the answers within? Another way is just like the meditation that we did earlier, the idea that we have this light within us, our soul is literally right to your soul, right to your light.
Yeah.
Ask it any question and just see what comes out on your piece of paper. It sounds crazy, but what if it's not? What if that's the information that we always say is inside of you? But how are we communing with that information?
I mean, honestly, I don't want to talk to your character who's like, "Nyeh." She doesn't sound fun to listen to. The other one, the first one we got during our Meet the Moment,
Yeah.
That's also the intuitive knowing of like, which voice are you going to listen to? Nobody wants to listen to an old witchy, mean, critical voice.
No. And we all have it, right?
But
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So you've got all these great methods, which thank you very much for sharing. And you've done this so many times. My question is often always how do you keep going? Because it's not like everyone in your world at this point in time, you're in a tech company and you're talking about a shaman. Not everybody's supporting this. So how do you move forward with this intention of this is definitely the direction I want to go without getting derailed by other people or doubt yourself, or like, how do you actually just venture with intention to?
Yeah. Once you get that information and that download that you're like, woof, clarity.
Yeah. I've heard the wisdom.
How do you have the bravery, the next?
Yeah. To do anything
To
with
do
it.
it.
Because plenty of us, I think, have probably heard some level of wisdom in ourselves, but that's, challenge 1. And then challenge 2 is like, well, now I got to make
What
that
do you
shit
do with
real.
Yeah, I would say it's different for every single one of us what that next step of action is. And I certainly don't have a
Well, share yours.
formula.
Where we're paying attention.
Yeah, for me, I do believe that one of my gifts and one of my purposes is expression, is communication. So often what my next step is coming through my voice. It comes through my need to speak to something. That certainly is what happened in this whole year. I've been in business for 10 years with my business partner and running Plenty Consulting, which is a consulting firm focused on strategy and leadership. And that's how Tessa and I met. And I, as a result, 100% of listening to my soul and doing this psychic work, what came forth was in January that our time together and my time at Plenty had come to a completion. And that was like
A ton of bricks. Because this is a successful company. You've been there for 10 years with this person.
yeah. And we had created we wrote a book together, and we created retreats and assessments and experiences for organizations and nonprofits and individuals. And it was beautiful work. And the bomb that came forth
Yeah.
was, okay, it is time to go in a different direction. And that's what my soul spoke. And it was really scary to communicate that to my business partner.
But you knew it to be true.
Sorry.
I so knew it.
We're both trying.
I know. I knew it to be true. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I had to speak it. And I didn't know what the next steps were, but I knew the next step was I had to voice it. And so whatever, we're all just wired differently. And, you know, what that next step is once you know, there's a timing too of the knowing, right? And for me, because I was tuned in, and I like to be tuned in to astrology, I did know that we were between two eclipses. And I felt pressure and accountability to speak what was coming through between that window.
You were taking those pieces of paper. You observed the sky above you, and then you're like, here's the question, here's the answer. You mixed it up. Yeah, and paid attention to the commonalities.
And then like, I think the practice as in life and in like this alignment of our soul, of our light, is like, once we get that hit, that knowing that we need to do something different, we need to leave, we need to lean in, we need to create, we need to invite, whatever that is, trusting just the next step will appear, and surrendering to the timing. Because there was a timing, like I didn't know all the pieces. And quite honestly, had I known what I would go through this year of letting go, this has been one of the hardest years of my life of letting go, of decoupling, of detangling, of shedding parts of myself, of my identity, of how I want to be seen in the world, how I was seen in the world, all these roles that like all of a sudden I can feel like that too has come to a completion. And it's been really uncomfortable in the letting go, and unknown. And so I don't know if that answers your question, but like for me, I had to speak it and then trust that was, and it was like the thing that got everything else rolling.
I mean, it totally answers it.
The next step just appeared once you spoke it.
Yeah.
Not that it was an easy next step, but it's like you brought it into the universe by speaking it out loud.
Yeah. And I do believe we are co-creative beings. Like I really believe that as we align to our truth and our knowing, like the universe is here to support us in the evolution of that becoming. We don't have to do it all on our own. So I was given so many signs to work with, and so many little nudges of keeping the faith. For example, when I was writing my book, if those of you have seen my favorite movie, Avatar, which the third one's coming out on December 18th, I'm so excited.
Pixar will be paying you later.
There's wisps.
It's not Pixar.
I don't know.
Have you seen? Hold on, I'm sorry,
What?
Jennifer. Have you not seen Avatar?
No.
Full stop on the recording.
You guys need to have a sleepover, and you need to watch Avatar.
1 and 2, so we can be ready for 3. All right, I'll watch them before.
I can't see her face, but I could see it from the back of her head.
You're going to be like, what? The first one's the best.
You're so cute, Pixar.
Anyway, there are wisps in one of the scenes, and they're these like beautiful seeds that kind of look like if you blew a dandelion seed, like that would float away. And when I was writing Leading with Light with my business partner, they would appear when I would like not want to write. I would find them everywhere. They would be on my couch. They would be in the car. They would like my little signals. And similarly with this decision, and lots of fear around it, lots of story around it, lots of holding around it, these wisps would appear to like just give me encouragement to keep going and keep taking
like
the
you were
next
on the right
step.
path.
Yeah. Yeah. So
They're your breadcrumbs.
they're all of our bread. They're everywhere. It's just, are we awake enough? Are we open enough? Are we slowing down enough to see the absolute majesty of the divine hand escorting us to our better life, our better path, our highest self, our purpose here. Like, if we can believe and rest that the interwoven elements of life, that we are infinitely connected to that, and we're infinitely connected to each other in that way. And it's good. It's not orchestrating on our demise. It's orchestrating on our becoming. Then there's so much to pay attention to. And I found that with my latest this year of stripping away my own hamster wheel. I mean, I'm teaching people to get off the hamster wheel, and I had no idea how much I was on the hamster wheel.
Yeah, we're all on our own at the same time. That's why it's practice.
But when we slow down and when I gave myself this space, now I can really consciously commune with those forces that I think before I knew I was practicing, but it was lots of my mental head state and less fully lived and embodied.
The intimacy that you bring to a conversation, Jennifer, is I think you know this, but is a big superpower of yours. The way that you share that emotion that is still so close to you, right? You're just barely on this, maybe not even on the other side. But what I want to know is, when you're in that messy middle and you just want to trust what's next and you don't know how to, how do you? And are you ready to share what's next?
Yeah, I think, again, we all have our different strengths and skills and unique gifts to experiment with listening. Like that deep listening of the nudges, the deep listening of the knowing, the deep listening of that full body conviction. And for some of you, you may have gifts of sight. You might be able to see a flash of something, or some of you that are really empathic and working with people, and you pick up their stress or that you pick up their energies, and learning how you can digest that and also still be in your sovereignty, in your own power. Like, that's something but we all have these ways of sensing what is on or off for us. And what I am so curious about, that when I made the decision to, close down my part in Plenty, and we decided together to ramp the business down, that with months of space, and it took a while, just my pace of life and mothering and my daughter's lacrosse schedule around the country, like I was still on a busy pace in the unraveling. But the more space I got from that automatic way I was showing up and packaging my gifts, the more I see. And I can't believe the perspective I have now versus in January. It feels like 10 years lived in one. But I can't emphasize space, like just allowing ourselves to really feel the feelings, really feel what feels like it's on or off, what feels alive, and questioning, to your point, Rocky, like, am I doing this just because the business wants it to become, or it's the life of the next evolution, or it looks really exciting to have our own podcast, so let's do it. Such a culprit of what you just said. Innocently, all of a sudden the spinning plates are happening, and then the spinning plates get complicated, and then they're engines and beasts in of themselves, and it's this like self-fulfilling prophecy of this hamster wheel in response to great ideas, great insight. But when we can pull back and really listen to whatever our truth is, and I really resonate with, for myself, what feels good. follow the feeling of feeling good. I wrote a blog on it a while ago, but could it be that simple of like just noticing where there's flow, where it really feels safe, open, exciting. And when it doesn't, to just give yourself time to explore that. And I do think there's a nuance of what I've seen is like this difference between strategy and soul. Like strategy is mind. We all have a very active, for many of us, intellectual mind. Our thinking is happening so furiously. We have over 80,000 thoughts a day. Like imagine that.
That's crazy.
Right? And so often the thinking is limited. But in business school and in business, you're taught to rely so wholeheartedly on the intellect, on the head, on the mind, on the thinking, and then rationalizing its truth, defending it, selling it, proving it, pushing it. But the heart, the soul, like cuts through all the bullshit, and it's unlimited. It's full of infinite potential. It's full of possibility because it's tuned in, tapped into the field. So how do you get to that place? And that's what I'm really interested in helping others of like, how do you listen to the soul's call? What is that? How does it speak? How is it different than strategy? How is it different than mind? And learning through dreams, through being quiet, through asking your guides for help, for noticing the synchronicities. That's how soul speaks through metaphor. It speaks through symbols. It speaks through a knowing of clarity that is so simple. It cuts through the bullshit. Mm-hmm. And attuning ourselves to hear that voice, to hear that wisdom is simply a practice. And so I am moving forward in that practice of guiding other people to listen to their soul's call. And I'll be offering retreats and soulful immersions and soul coaching and soul reading to help people hear the truth of their soul. And from my experience, like training in this world, in this way, I would say, it's just like, it just kind of cuts through the justification or the jockeying or the protection that we all innocently have armored ourselves with. The moment we give ourselves permission to drop that armor in a relaxed state in nature, like you did, like just, it could be a bath, it could be a path, it could be reading a book, whatever, to just soften. It's in the softening that the soul gets our attention. It's not in the hardening and the controlling and the figuring it out and strategizing and proving. Like, God, I've been there and I still do it. I do it because it's a very well-trained muscle. But we have an equal opportunity to train the muscle of the heart that senses, that comes from love, that is love, that wants peace, that the whole purpose about being a business is to bring people together, to activate the gifts in each other to make a better world. That's, call it heart, call it light, call it soul. I do believe listening, creating space, slowing down, feeling good, practicing what feels yummy allows that softening to occur. When that softening happens in our body, the soul can be heard. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I don't want to follow up that.
Nope.
I don't want to have to say anything because
it's beautiful.
There's the mic drop.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the last little like nugget of takeaway that you kept saying that I don't want any of the listeners to miss is we can create a lot of complexity for ourselves. Even an example being an emotions wheel. We can take this little singular thing of I feel happy, I feel sad, and we can explode it into, well, what type of anger and what type of happy and what type of sad. And we can get really focused on those details. But what you said in this that is, I think, a big takeaway is, does it feel pleasant? Does it feel unpleasant? Start there. You don't have to over nuance any of this information and let your brain tell you more details or waste time diving into it. Just start listening to the body saying, this feels good. And that is like a huge first step that I don't want anybody to miss.
Yeah. And I would say, I'm so glad you mirrored that back, because I think one of my personal practices that is in the nuances, I've been a light chaser, light seeker, light worker my whole life. So it's easy to come across of just look for the feelings of feeling good.
Yes.
Just look for the light, which is my nature. So that's probably not going away. But what I will say is this year has been a lot about being comfortable feeling the feelings of the shitty stuff.
Yeah.
The messy Jennifer, the regret I have on some decisions I made, the versions of myself that felt like I had to perform, or I had to speak a certain way, or I had to package spirituality so that CEOs would, kind of open the door. And then when they came through, then I was like, oh, but here's what we're really doing.
Yeah,
like,
we got to notice all
that,
the pleasant and unpleasant.
And just bringing our presence to it without making it good or bad.
Yeah.
Is, I think, underrated. And that is a muscle I'm practicing right now, because my Libra brain wants to make things right and wrong, light and dark, good and bad.
Those scales.
Yep. And so to how you started, Tessa, of like the living in the and, like just bringing presence to, oh, I'm feeling really sad at the moment, or feeling really regretful. And I know those feelings are not me. Like I'm something beyond that. I'm the light behind that, but I'm having those feelings. And can I just observe where they are in my body? What texture? Do they have something to say? What do they need from me right now? And if we could just take a second at whatever point in your week to just feel those feelings and observe it, I think we would be so far along than jockeying and strategizing and defending and, figuring out our way through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just thanks.
Thank you.
What a delightful conversation. This is...
We're going to be comparing everybody else to Jennifer now. Just kidding.
We always say we don't choose favorites, and then yet we have a new favorite and a new favorite and a new favorite.
You too.
And then everybody becomes our favorite because the light is everywhere.
I just want to cry a little bit. I feel very grateful. Everything that you said, even though I've heard pieces of it just by being your friend, it really helped mirror some of the things I've gone through with Rocky this year. And we got to turn back towards each other in the most beautiful way. Thanks for being open-hearted and sharing with us. And we hope it resonates with someone else. But if it doesn't, I sure feel seen. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming. I feel so lucky.